Yeah, I'll tell you what, this was wild. It wound up only being a 7-horse race at the end, the $1 million Pacific Classic of Del Mar, because of injuries right at the last minute. And we had talked extensively about journalism, the Preakness winner, the Haskell Stakes winner, coming back here to train here and decided to stay and run here. And then we talked about Fierceness, who had done really well a year prior as a 3-year-old, was now a 4-year-old. There's only 7 horses that ran in this race because 2 got scratched at the end. And they come out of the gate, and Fierceness stumbles out of the gate and veers towards the rail. I mean, why that horse did not go down, why the jockey did not get dismounted. There was fear the horse was going to try to jump over the rail. Somehow that jockey steered that horse back on the track, and the horse did not run into another horse. But at one point, I saw that the horse was like almost going sideways.
Wow.
I thought it was going to be catastrophic. So Fierceness recovers from the bad start and is in the middle of the traffic, and all of a sudden is running along the rail. And all of a sudden, as traffic spreads out, just seems to have a clear run, makes a move, and runs away from the field. Journalism, which started outside, had really a slow start. Journalism historically has always come from behind. So journalism was running back of the pack. Journalism was in 7th place coming out of the 4th turn on the final. And then journalism kicked it outside, direct shot to the front, ran out of space, ran out of time, ran out of lengths, too far back. Fierceness wins in a big upset. Journalism finishes a strong 2nd. Now, if that race had gone another 20 yards, journalism might have caught Fierceness. So it was a stunner. It was almost tragic at the beginning. Then it became a great race. So now we fast forward to what's going to happen November 1st, which obviously is going to be the Breeders' Cup Classic. And you still got journalism out there with nice credentials. Fierceness, as a 4-year-old, looks really good. And we know what just happened up at Saratoga, where the Derby winner was very, very impressive. So, I mean, we got 3 really great horses who are coming here to run in the Breeders' Cup Classic, the big money final race on November 1st. So Pacific Classic was strange to start, but it was really, really cool. Tennis, U.S. Open. The winners keep on winning for different reasons. Jannik Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz just continue to roll on. It's interesting. Novak Djokovic, who's got 24 Grand Slams. You talk about playing with gut and grits. Got a shoulder and a back problem and keeps on winning. Has not been easy. Every one of his matches through the first 3 rounds has been a grind. Djokovic is still there, but he's got to face one of these guys in a quarterfinal, semifinals. He's probably not going to get there. And on the women's side, Iga Swiatek out of Poland really looks like she's unbeatable right now. She just seems on a mission again. Coco Gauff has struggled with her serve. Got so bad that she fired her coach a week ago. New serve coach. Coco just is emotionally a package right now. She got into 3rd round match. She had 8 double faults. Her serve went away again. She started to cry between matches, sitting on, when they changed sides. She went and sat on the bench. She's just weeping. She gathered it back in, and she continues to win. I don't know if she's going to be able to go much beyond the quarterfinals. Just she's so hot and cold. And we told you the story last week about Dino Medved, the Russian, the terrible temper tantrum that interrupted the match. He got fined $42,600, all-time fine for the tantrum, the racket smashing, etc. So there's a lot to talk about there if you're a tennis fan. Third topic, New York Knicks. This is really interesting. You know, Knickerbockers have got a controversial owner, James Dolan, fired their coach, Tom Thibodeau, went through a long interview process. Evidently, the firing and the replacement list was not really well thought out. They wound up hiring Mike Brown, good veteran coach, former head coach, Lakers, Cleveland, has had some success. But amongst the people, John, they interviewed was WNBA coach, legendary USC South Carolina coach, Dawn Staley. This is a really interesting story. She went through, I want to say, 4 to 5 hours of interviews. And I was told everything all the Q&A was really positive in terms of philosophy, things that she would want to do as a head coach, interactions with players, etc. Before they wrapped up the interview, she said, I have some questions for you, talking directly towards James Dolan.
Good.
I have questions for you. I want to know about you, Knickerbockers, Madison Square Garden and sports, and all the lawsuits filed against you and your organization by women. End of interview. But she was very pointed, said it was important for me, if I was going to take this job with my track record and resume and work for these people, I had to have answers. She started to ask those questions. She was interviewing James Dolan.
Good.
And it got very, very uncomfortable. She did not get the job. Hockey. You asked me a question this past week about payrolls rocketing, highest paid players in the NHL. And I told you that $14 million was the top for Leon Draisaitl in Edmonton. We're about to go beyond that. Kirill Kaprizov, potential 40, 50 goal scorer, Minnesota Wild. He's got a year left on his contract. He's negotiating an extension. He's asking for $16 million. If you're going to pay Kaprizov $16 million, and in Minnesota they think that's going to happen, what are you going to pay Connor McDavid of Edmonton, who's been everything to that franchise, because he's got a year left on his contract? So we're about to hit a high water mark with Kaprizov at probably 16, and then McDavid's probably going to go beyond that. So that's a really interesting story that bears watching. Soccer. Speaking of money, Liverpool. They closed the deal today. It took them a month to get it done. There was so much bitterness. They spent $173 million. It's an all-time record transfer. $173 million to get Newcastle's goal scorer Alexander Isak, who had held out and refused to play any longer for Newcastle United. This comes weeks after Liverpool spent $153 million to get German goal scoring star Florian Wirtz. Nobody in soccer has ever seen this kind of money directed to the front of the table to get star players. Alec Isak is a really good player. And here in town, how about SDFC? They go to L.A. on Sunday night, late game, and they beat LAFC 2-1. Chucky Lozano, Dreyer, they score 33, 66th minute. SDFC has now got 17 wins on the season, 17, 7-5 as an expansion team. That's a message sent to everybody. So a lot of different headlines there. John, table is yours.
Well, I got to start off with San Diego FC, man. I watched that match. It was terrific. I mean, Anders Dreyer, give this man the MVP trophy.
Slick.
Yeah, he really is a talented player. And he had that breakaway, and he can stop on a dime and turn left, and then he was able to poke it in the goal. And that was a big crowd in LA. And, there was a small contingent of SDFC fans that went up, but they fell behind 1-0 pretty early, and they came back. And you got to give them credit. I mean, like you said, like it's a rookie season for San Diego FC. They're going to set a record in MLS. I mean, for, expansion franchise, but they've won 6 in a row on the road.
They're relentless.
They are. And they've swept California. I mean, they beat LAFC and the Galaxy both twice, Earthquakes once. So they're just rolling, and they play a really unique style where you'll see the fullbacks, playing back towards the back line, just swapping the ball with the keeper. And you're thinking, what are you doing? Move the ball. But they're trying to get that field to open up, and then from that they can attack. So it's a really unique style that Mikey's put together.
Yeah, they've done it's just a phenomenal job. What's your reaction to the Pacific Classic? Reaction to the New York Knicks story?
The Knicks story is cool because if there's any coach from the WNBA that could coach men, it'd have to be Dawn Staley. I mean, because she would go in there and kick some ass, which I think would be great. But good on her for, because interviews are a two-way thing. Each party is interviewing the other, and good for her for asking those questions. I mean, that's very brave, but I know Dolan has had a crazy track record there. So, interview over. Okay, fine. I mean, they don't have the moral standards, the ethical standards that Staley would demand.
I mean, it was really something for her to ask. There are like 6 different lawsuits filed by women who worked either for the Knicks or for the Rangers or worked at Madison Square Garden, Inc., have filed all the discrimination lawsuits against the leadership of that organization. She had every right. And I'll tell you, that takes courage to stand up and say,
Huge.
you need to tell me why this stuff has happened continually. Wow.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially given her position. I mean, because imagine if they hired her, which would be huge news. And then there's some other disgraceful thing that happens with the Knicks management or MSG management. I mean, she'd probably end up walking out on them. I mean, you know, so good on her for asking those questions.
Okay, those are hot topics on the table because we do sports talk the way it should be done.